Thank you, everybody that can make it to the Lunch and Learn today. And I will get started. Uh, Good afternoon. My name is Elsie Bax. I am the environmental intern at the Central District, and I attend Missouri State University in Springfield. And today I'll give you information about a few bat species of Missouri that we are concerned with on MoDOT projects. Bats are typically found in karst areas. Karst is a type of landscape where the dissolving of bedrock has created features such as sinkholes, caves, and spring formations. Most of Missouri is in a karst landscape, therefore, this state is a perfect place for bats. Bats roost in trees greater than 3 inches in diameter above ground levels away from predators. An easy way to tell if a tree is the right width is if it is greater than your fist. Bats hide in the holes and crevices of peeling bark on trees. In colder months, from October to March, bats are found hibernating in mines and caves with minimal airflow. In April, pregnant female bats fly to maternity colonies and prepare for raising young, while immature females and male bats settle into bachelor colonies. Bats use the warmer months to consume food and roost in areas along streams, hiding in foliage, tree holes, and under bark. Toward the end of the warmer months, bats swarm back together to mate and prepare for hibernation in mines and caves. Here are some examples of what tree features we look for when we survey for suitable bat habitats. As you can see, there's bark lifting up in the tree on the photo on your left, and on your right, there is a suitable hole for a bat to roost in. Bats are so important to our ecosystem and economy. Bats consume insects as a main food source, maintaining a controlled pest population. Bats help agriculture with pest control by eating enough insects to save more than $1 billion per year in crop damage and pesticide costs in the United States corn industry alone. Bees and butterflies are not the only main pollinators. Some bats rely on nectar from flowers for their diet, distributing pollen while they feed. Bats are also great for the ecosystem due to seed dispersal. A few bats in North America consume small berries and fruits. Once digested, new plants are able to sprout from the bat's guano. With the wide variety of available meals, the bats we focus on today mainly stick to insect food sources. Lastly, the bats are also a source of food for other predators. Animals such as snakes and birds of prey rely on bats for their meals. Now let's get started into the endangered bat species of Missouri that we focus on protecting at MoDOT. First up is the gray bat, scientifically known as Myotis grassescens. Gray bats use cave and cave-like structures such as mines, bridges, and culverts that trap cold air. They are on average 3.5 inches in length and have a wingspan of 10 to 11 inches. For their coloring, gray fur occurs during the winter months, but the sun bleaches their fur to a reddish brown in summer months. Gray bats have notched claws, a forearm length of approximately 40 millimeters, and a wing membrane that is attached to their ankle rather than their foot. A fun fact about this bat species is that gray bats are the largest members of their genus in the eastern United States. Next up, we have the Indiana bat, or the Myotis sodalis. Indiana bats use caves and mines for hibernation and inhabit forested and riparian areas for warmer months. Some identifying features is that they have an average length of 3 to 4 inches and a wingspan of 9.5 to 10.5 inches. The Indiana bat's fur is a chestnut brown to dark gray, with fewer and shorter hairs, not extending past the claws. Their hind feet are smaller than most other species and have a spur made of cartilage called the calcar, located in the inner side of the ankle. A fun fact about Indiana bat is that this species was first found in the Wyandotte Cave in Indiana, giving the Indiana bat its name. The northern long-eared bat, scientifically known as Myotis septentrionalis, enjoys caves with a high humidity and little airflow for hibernation. These bats are not only found in caves and foliage, but in man-made structures such as box culverts and barns. Identifying features include a length of 3 to 3.7 inches and a wingspan of 8.9 to 9.2 inches. The fur color is medium to dark brown, and an easy way to tell if it is a northern long-eared bat is if the ears, when bent forward, are able to reach past the tip of the nose. This species of bat also has a large tragus, which is the skin in front of the ear canal with the purpose of directing sound waves. You can see an example of a tragus in the picture below. A northern long-eared fun fact is that this species of bat take prey by capturing them directly off the surface, while other bats use more of an aerial approach. Next up is our proposed endangered species, the tricolored bat. It is proposed in September of 2022, but it is not known at this time whether the listing decision will be finalized. The tricolored bat, also known as the Perimyotis subflavus. These bats range from the eastern United States of Canada to Central America. They hibernate in warm and humid caves. They are also found roosting and hibernating in box culverts and bridges. Tricolored bats are approximately 3 to 3.5 inches in length and a wingspan of 8 to 10 inches. They get their name from having darker fur at the top and bottom of their bodies, with a lighter fur in the middle. Colors range from gray, brown, black, and orange, with new fledglings often being darker than adults. A tricolored's forearms are light pink due to the skin being thinner in that region and have an oval-shaped tragus. A tricolored bat fun fact is that they're the smallest species in Missouri, likeliness of a big cotton ball. Additionally, as a side note, if you observe the bottom right photograph, it appears that this bat has contracted white nose syndrome, an often fatal disease I will get into on the next slide. Now we'll focus on the cause of why they're endangered and how we can help protect the bats. White nose syndrome, also seen as WNS, is a spreading fungal disease that affects hibernating bats. It is spread by physical contact from bats, humans, and surfaces. It is characterized on bats by having white-like substance on the bat's muzzle and wings that leads to acidosis, dehydration, and energy loss. The disease was first discovered in New York in 2006 and was most likely brought to North America from cave explorers visiting Europe or Asia. We can help eliminate white nose syndrome by limiting cave and bat disturbance and cleaning gear worn in caves. Another factor leading to the endangerment of bats is the disturbance of habitat. Mothering bats will abandon or accidentally drop their young when startled, leading to the pup's death, a pup being a juvenile bat. It is important not to touch bats unless you are a trained professional and avoid disrupting bat sites. Bats are also sensitive to light. Turning off unnecessary lighting at night can lower the disturbance of them. One of the biggest reasons for the population's decline is habitat destruction. Deforestation is a rising issue. MoDOT ensures that possible bat roost trees are only cleared October 16th through April 30th, while bats are in caves hibernating. Pesticide use may harm bats also by depleting nearby food sources, and pesticide-infected insects may be consumed by bats, leading to possible illness. Farmers can help bat populations by decreasing the use of high-toxicity pesticides and even utilize nearby colonies for insect control. Lastly, wind turbines are becoming a popular source of renewable energy. Bats typically encounter these large windmills and are hit by the blades or crushed by pressure. The Department of Energy is implementing acoustic deterrents to keep bats away from these turbine structures. An example of this is shown in the bottom picture. There are many ways scientists and government practices can help bats, but there are also opportunities for regular people such as you to help the effort as well. An easy way for communities supporting bats are with bat houses and bat boxes. They have been gaining popularity, and anyone can install these boxes on trees, posts, and structures to help provide habitat for bats. With the ambition of state and federal levels, these departments help permanently protect 70% of biologically significant submarine roosts and 14 out of the 15 major cave hibernacula. Government and corporations are still aiming to protect more. Cave gates have also been positioned in cave entrances to keep humans out. The gates have wide enough slats and holes for the bats and other small species to be able to enter and exit freely. This helps reduce cave and bat disturbance. Next, development for a vaccine for the white nose syndrome is undergoing research. As reported by the U.S. Geological Survey, scientists have been testing a colony of little brown bats in Wisconsin. It was found that the vaccine significantly lowered pathogen loads compared to the ones treated with a placebo. When the second test was done, the vaccine appeared to be ineffective with the large portion of the colony passing, due to white nose syndrome. However, it was discovered that the bats at the certain sites may be developing resistance against the disease. So even though the vaccine still needs further progress in treating the disease, hopefully the bats are able to build immunity naturally. Last but not least, spreading awareness is very important. Bats are misunderstood creatures with an important ecological role. The National Park Service holds National Bat Week, October 24th through the 31st, with fun articles and bat activities to help spread knowledge. Some of you may also wonder what MoDOT's protocols are for protecting bats. MoDOT environmental specialists screen projects to determine whether they may impact bats in their habitats. This is why it's important to provide tree clearing details, amounts, and locations when projects are submitted to environmental. The specialist will determine whether a suitable bat habitat is present and if there are any nearby records for bats in their hibernacula. If the project involves bridge work or replacement, the specialist will look at TMS photos and bridge surveys to see if there are any evidence of bats roosting on the bridge. Usually a specialist has to go into the field and look at trees or bridges in order to make sure accurate determinations on the effects to bats. If it looks like there is a project that will affect them, the specialist works with the project manager to put job special provisions on the contract to help protect the bats. These usually include tree clearing in the winter and may even be doing bridge work then as well. We can also do bridge checks for bats right before the project starts. If a project could affect listed bats, the specialist will have to consult the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service to make sure the Endangered Species Act is being followed. If MoDOT violates this act, that could mean federal funds could be taken from the project. So that concludes the main aspect of what MoDOT does for bat species in the construction process. So that is the end of my presentation. Thank you for listening. I hope you learned something. If any of you have questions, please feel free to ask, and I'm also available by emails and Teams. And here are some sources if any other of you are curious.
Thank you, Elsie. I appreciate that. Do you want to leave the